price tag of $21.99. And this is the first day at this special low price. We started with the season with more than 5,000 sets. We have less than half of our sets remaining, and it is the final quantities of the season. Now, obviously these are annuals because you're going to get your fruits and vegetables yet this year. But Katie, I want to pop it over to you. Take us through the 4 plants that you're going to send us, and why did you choose these 4 to go together?
Oh, I love it. Well, we kicked it off by saying we've got this wine here. This is our Italian inspiration. We know you maybe wanted to travel this year, and we wanted the taste of these 4 plants to take you away using your Italian dishes throughout the entire summer, because all 4 of these will provide fruits for you all summer long. So why don't we start with my favorite part of this collection is this little patio baby eggplant. This is it. This is as big as they get, Mary Beth. Is this the cutest eggplant you have ever seen? And they're going to be loaded. You can see, we actually harvested this off the plant. You can see how they grow, massive amounts of these tiny little eggplants on one plant. And remember, you'll get them all summer. The great thing about the small eggplant is the skin. The skin is a lot more tender. I know sometimes you cut into it, one of those eggplant parms, oh my goodness, which we have some here. So delicious, but it's hard to get through the skin of the eggplant. Yeah. This one is going to be so much more tender. Wow. You don't need to cook it for very long and just slight dice it. It's going to be absolutely delicious.
That's interesting. I really wondered what that difference would be, but that makes so much sense that it would be just a thinner skin. So which one do you want to talk about next after the eggplant?
Well, I love this tomato because we're talking about Italian gardens here. We're talking about sauces. This is the Marzanera tomato. It's the richest and most flavorful of our saucing tomatoes. It's right here. It's going to be a smaller tomato, so not huge, but still good for salads. Yeah. It's also perfect for saucing. You're going to get loaded. Your plant will be absolutely loaded. This is what it looks like when it comes. And all of these ship samples turn into these in one summer. So this is all what you're getting in one summer.
And let me ask you about those tomatoes. They look more like the size of a plum tomato, which
right.
I love plum tomatoes. They're some of my favorites. So
they're so delicious and so sweet and not very many seeds. So really perfect for salting.
Good, good. Yes. Okay, what's next?
Well, let's go right here to the basil, since that's all I can smell right now is just basil, basil, basil. And we picked this Emerald Towers variety because the great thing about this entire collection, Mary Beth, is you can grow it in containers. So you can put it in the ground if you have the space. But now, because these are all going to be more of the dwarf variety of plants, now you can grow them in containers. The Emerald Towers, instead of growing out like lots of basils, it's going to grow up. I mean, look at this. It's so tall. It can get to be 12, 14, 15 inches tall, and you just continually harvest it from the top, and they'll continually sprout off the side.
And so all I have to do is, it just even rub my fingers over the leaf. And it smells so good. It reminds me of spaghetti and pizza and you know, all the wonderful things that you can get in an Italian restaurant. And then we go to the peppers. Tell me about these peppers.
The Pepper Grande. So this is a sweet pepper, and it's perfect for roasting. So it's going to be long and slender, and it's going to be also low seed count. So this is going to be those peppers you want to make, you know, put some cheese in them, put some prosciutto in them, or just roast them on your own to make this like roasted red pepper combo. Yeah. They are perfect for roasting. And again, this is the plant. This is what it looks like. This is the real plant. This is what it looks like when they're growing. You see how they're changing color? Here's a picture so you can see those are all red. You see those green ones behind, not quite ripe yet, but the red are, when they're red, they're ready to harvest. Now remember, they look hot because they're so red, but these are a sweet pepper.
Wow. Okay, so here's my question. How should we plant these? I see that yours are in 4 individual pots. That's probably, I would assume, what you want us to do. But explain a little bit about how we grow these, especially if we've never grown vegetables before.
So you're right. Full sun, number 1, full sun. But you're right about the pots. If you do put them in one pot, you're going to need to get a pretty big pot. I would suggest at least a 20-inch pot. And then if you're going to do them in individual pots, 12-inch pots are just fine. So you can put each of them in 12-inch pots. The basil can be a little smaller, or basil can share a pot with your pepper or your eggplant or your tomato. Wow. But full sun is something you need to know and they can grow on the patio. The only thing you will need a cage for is your tomato.
Okay.
Definitely pick up something to support your tomato as it grows bigger and bigger.
Yeah, because it gets too heavy. Also, one of the things I know Cottage Farms allows or has here at QVC is the actual button flower booster for fruits and vegetables. How would we use this to really make us get the best harvest we could get?
Yep. So the button flower booster for fruits and vegetables is this little green pod. It's 1 for 1 gallon of water, particularly if these are in containers. You pop one in your watering can, and I would suggest fertilizing, particularly our peppers and our tomatoes. They're really hungry. I think that's one of the problems that people have when they are growing food in containers. They don't feed it. So make sure you're doing that every 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, excellent idea. And then let's go back through it. Okay, so I think we know when a tomato is ripe and ready. How do we know when the eggplant is ripe and ready? Is it to the color or is it a firmness? What do we feel like?
So that's a great question. They're going to be about 2 inches long, and they will be extremely hard when they're not ripe. In fact, I don't know how well you can see them. They almost have a zebra look. When the eggplants are not quite ripe here, they have a little bit of a stripe. When they are ready, they're almost fully purple. So that's when you know when they're a little soft to the touch. And eggplants will continue to ripen once you pick them. So don't worry about picking them a little bit early, but do make sure they're completely purple. You can see here, completely purple through, and maybe a little bit of I know it's hard to see, a little bit of the zebra striping, but it's really one of those vegetables that I don't think enough people grow at home, Mary Beth. The taste of a homegrown tomato, you might be able to picture in your head, but the taste of a homegrown eggplant is unlike anything. It is so much better than store-bought. It's absolutely delicious and tender and sweet, and you're gonna love it.
I'll tell you, all of it's making me hungry right now. So don't forget, you get a tomato plant, an eggplant plant, you get the basil plant that you can use anytime. Just take the leaf off and grind it up or tear it up and put it in the food. And then you also get the peppers, which are so good. And you get all of this. I just want to remind you, we started the season with 5,000. Less than half of our quantity remains. Final quantities of the season, first day at this special low price. And it will come with the growing guide. Coming up a little bit later, we have hydrangeas coming up for you, and there's only 200 to go around. So I want to remind you about